friends, I am in a different place in my house. This is just, it's the dining room, but I don't really use it as a dining room. Anyway, that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is I'm ready to do an unhaul. Link below because you'll see some of the books in here. I just recently posted a video about some authors I was giving up on, and honestly, y'all made me feel really good about that because most of the comments that I got basically said, yeah, they were okay, but you know, nothing major that I was missing. So I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. Some of them are read, some of them are unread, and I will try and explain why I'm getting rid of it. This is the first one, Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I did read this. It is, 900 pages. It's probably the longest book I've ever read. I've read Gone with the Wind. I can't remember how long that one is, but I liked this book, Lonesome Dove, but I am never, ever going to reread it. I don't have a lot of memory of it. I know it was good for like the relationship building with the people. That's pretty much all I remember. But yeah, I'm not going to reread a 900-page book. The next one is a college book again. This is Housemaid of Dawn by N. Scott Momaday. I did read this and liked it, but I have never had an interest to go back to it, but I highly recommend it if you're interested in an Indigenous work. It is about basically a young Native man who kind of gets into the drug world and kind of the effects of that on his life. So it's short, but it's really a powerful read. So I have unhauled most of my Ernest Hemingway, and I found another one, The Old Man and the Sea. I read it. It was boring. That's that. Peter Taylor, A Summons to Memphis. I read this when I was reading the Pulitzer Prize winning books. Have no memory of it. I think I liked it, but honestly, no memory of it and probably won't go back. So this one is The Buddha Walks Into a Bar, A Guide to Life for a New Generation by Lordro Rinzler. I read this when I was kind of researching, investigating meditation, which I do on a daily basis, and it's really important to me. I got some things out of this book. I would recommend it if you're looking into learning more about meditation. This is a book that I've had on my shelf that I just don't know that I'm going to read. I've moved it from house to house, apartment to apartment, and yeah, it's Bruce Feiler's Abraham. It's basically a story of one man's search for the shared ancestor of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, traveling through war zones, braving violence at religious sites, and seeking our faith leaders. I'm interested in those topics, but I don't know. If I were to read something about those topics now, I would definitely want to read a more recent book. This is from 2004. So we're going to get rid of that one. I mentioned in my video of authors I'm giving up on is Richard Russo. This is Nobody's Fool. This is Empire Falls by Richard Russo, which I did read, and it was fine. And then 3 Jodi Picoult books that I'm getting rid of because she's one of the authors that I'm giving up on. I have Songs of a Humpback Whale, The Book of Two Ways, and 19 Minutes. So this one I kind of toyed with, but this is The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. I got rid of the Wishing Game, because they're cute for sure. If I reread them, I'm going to reread them on audio. So I'm trying to downsize. So I'm going to get rid of the book. The Keeper of the House by Shirley Ann Grayu. This won a Pulitzer Prize. I did read it. Did I read it? I don't remember if I read it or not, but I'm going to pass that on to someone else. Jane Smiley, A Thousand Acres is another Pulitzer Prize winning book. I read it. It's a story about family. Yeah, I liked the movie, liked the book, but I'm not going to reread it. I guess this is a stack of all my Pulitzer Prize winning books. A Death in the Family by James Agee. I read this and I do remember that I liked it. But I don't think I'm going to reread it. So that's that one. Elizabeth Strout. I read Olive Kitteridge. I've also read, what's the other one I've read? I think I've read Amy and Isabel. I should have put this in my authors I'm giving up on. I liked this book okay. I'm just not a fan of Elizabeth Strout's writing. I know a lot of people are, so we'll pass that on to someone else who would like it. Another Pulitzer Prize winning book that I read, and I did enjoy, The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. I'm just not going to read this again. Another one is The Optimist's Daughter by Eudora Welty. I read this. I actually read it for a book club many years ago, and it was fine. I think most of the book club didn't really like it. In the video of authors I'm giving up on is Diane Chamberlain. This is The Silent Sister, which is kind of the book that put me in a little bit of funk for her books. I mentioned in the video that I like her newer works. The last 2 that I've read of her newer works, probably the last 2 she's published, I've listened to on audio and they were good that way. So I'm not going to keep the physical books on my shelf. I did not enjoy The Silent Sister, so we'll pass that on. This is a memoir that I read, Tastes Like War by Grace M. Cho. I read it. It's about her experience as the daughter of a white American merchant marine and a Korean bar hostess, and just kind of her experience as a mixed racial identity growing up in America. This is a graphic novel. This is Can't We Talk About Something More Pleasant by Roz Chast. It's a memoir graphic novel about her experience with her parents getting older, and it there's helpful things in here, but I also felt like, I don't know, I didn't really like the way that disability and some of the physical changes that people go through when they're older, as they get older, I didn't really like how that was portrayed in here. But overall, I feel like if you don't know anything about caring for a loved one, you might enjoy this. For me, I'm gonna pass it on. This is, my voice is going. The Dance of the Dissident Daughter, A Woman's Journey from Christian Tradition to the Sacred Feminine by Sue Monk Kidd. She's the one that wrote the novel The Secret Life of Bees, which I did enjoy. This was okay. It just, it wasn't especially impactful for me, but I've heard other people really like this. So we'll pass that one on. The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. I read this, I don't know, a couple years ago. I liked it. It's got some paranormal, horror-ish vibes to it, but you know, it was pretty predictable, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna unhaul that one. This one I'm kind of bummed that I didn't really like. This is We Spread by Ian Reid. This is again another horror book about a woman who's living in, they call it a long-term care residence. That's what it is. I really like the cover too, but yeah, this novel just didn't work for me. This is None of This Is Serious by Catherine Prashivka. This was the group read for the Irish Readathon 2 years ago, maybe. It was fun. It was a fun read. And I think I've kept it because I really like the cover. It is about a woman who, she's in her 20s and kind of something happens in the world, like a crack in the, which is the cracks on the face. There's a crack in the sky, and kind of her experience of that through social media, through getting her news through social media, I guess, and kind of becoming obsessed with it. So it was an interesting read. But yeah, I'm not gonna reread it. This is one that I got. This is a children's picture book that is about grief, and I got this when my mom died for my nephew, and after reading it, I just, he was 5 when she died, and I don't know, this seemed a little bit young for him. But this is Grandmother's Visit by Betty Kwong, pictures by Carmen Mock. So I'm gonna pass this on to someone else. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay, all right. Again, I talked about in the video, giving up on popular authors. I'm giving up on Charles Dickens. I know, I'm sorry, but I've read his stuff and not really interested in, especially their chunkers. I have Great Expectations and Oliver Twist that I will also be unhauling. I was going to keep my collection of Alice Hoffman books. However, she has a lot of books and I don't have that much book space. So I didn't really enjoy The Invisible Hour. I will try and remember to link my review of this. It didn't work. The first half worked for me. The second half did not. So again, another author that I don't really I'm not really drawn to reading. I've tried this a couple of times. This is American Pastoral by Philip Roth. This was another Pulitzer Prize winner. Yeah, I've tried it and I am not interested. This is like a children's version of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, illustrated by W.E. Webster. It's a really pretty book, and it has some pictures in it. Honestly, I bought this online and it was not what I thought it was. So we'll get rid of that. If you've watched my reviews, you know that I did not like this book at all. I read it when I was in the mountains. This is Bear by Julia Phillips. Don't need to keep that one around. I also did not like So Lucky by Nicola Griffith. Yeah, that just didn't work for me either. I am getting rid of 3 by Flannery O'Connor. This bind up includes Wise Blood, The Violent Bear It Away, and Everything That Rises Must Converge. I could never get into her writing, so I'm gonna pass that on. This is The Chosen by Ham Potok. I just never, I started it. There's my bookmark, and just wasn't interested in reading it. Oops, sorry. Again, I've reviewed this on the channel. Oh, Caledonia by Elspeth Barker. Wasn't for me. This book I did love. This is The Change by Kirsten Miller. I'm not sure if I'm going to get rid of this one. This one's definitely a maybe. I did like it. It's got older female main characters, which I thoroughly enjoyed, being an older female. Yeah, I don't know, because there's parts of this that I think about and I'm like, maybe I want to revisit that book. So that I might hold on to for now. All right, these are some more of the books that I talked about that I was giving up on the authors. So we have Nora Roberts, Starlit Winter Nights. We have another Diane Chamberlain. This is The Secret Life of C.C. Wilkes. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. The Hypnotist's Love Story by Leanne Moriarty. The Wedding by Danielle Steele. Mary Kate Andrews, Beach Town. Nora Roberts, The Witness. Those are all ones that I talked about in the video about giving up on some authors that are pretty popular. This is A Flaw in the Blood by Stephanie Barron. Stephanie Barron wrote a series on basically where Jane Austen is like, she solves crimes. Wherever she visits, a crime happens and she helps solve it. Her series on Jane Austen, I read a couple of them and I liked them. However, I felt like it's a long series and the formula was definitely the same, and I just didn't really want to read more, and it made me not want to pick up this author again. I read this recently, Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. I thought it was okay. I'm just not going to read it again. This is a story about shelter dogs by Peg Currett, which I've read, and cute little adoption stories. rescue animals that some of them became movie stars. But I'm not going to read it again. This is Rescue Road by Peter Zutlin. One Man, 30,000 Dogs, and a Million Miles on the Last Hope Highway. So I've kind of gotten out of the rescue world and haven't picked this up since I got it, which was probably when it came out in 2015. So I'm going to pass that on. This is Modoc by Ralph Helfer, the true story of the greatest elephant that ever lived. I may listen to this on audio, but I don't know if I'm going to. A couple of these were from a nonfiction book stack that I did. And since doing that, I've thought about it and I've just decided I don't want to read these books. This is Riding the Bus with My Sister, A True Life Journey by Rachel Simon. And again, if I get interested in these books, I'd rather consume them on audio. The Boy in the Moon by Ian Brown, A Father's Journey to Understand His Extraordinary Son. And then the last one is The Shape of the Eye, a memoir by George Estrick. And that is just a memoir about a dad who has a daughter with a genetic difference. And that's a lot of books. I'm going to have to count them because right now they're in a mess on the floor. Pretty proud of myself. That's a pretty big unhaul. I'm going to take them somewhere locally, and if not, if they don't take them, which they can be kind of, I don't know, hit and miss. If they don't take them, then I will put them on my Pango store, which is always linked in the description box. That helps support my channel. Yeah, and if you have liked this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.